What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Cool Kids channel for another Cool Kids live review. Today, we are talking about M Night Shyamalan's latest film, Trap. Because get it? It's a trap, guys. It's a trap. Do you get it? Do you understand what it's about? Do you get it? You already
Yes,
know
we get it. Move on.
exactly, Mark. Exactly. So you know who we are. Let's just get right into it. Well, I gotta actually pull up my review first. M Night Shyamalan is kind of like going to a casino in Vegas. Sometimes you win some, and a lot of times you lose some. And M Night Shyamalan is very, very hit and miss. You'll get movies like Unbreakable, and you'll also get movies like The Last Airbender. So sometimes you get good movies, and sometimes you get shit. In this case, this latest outing, Trap, I wouldn't really go as far and say it was a good movie, but it's not really bad either. Like, I've seen worse this year, and it's not great, but it's okay. Or, eh. Josh Hartnett does a solid job with what he's given. I actually think out of everybody, he actually gives a really good performance. I admittedly during the concert, like when he's doing everything he can to prevent himself from getting caught, I thought that was very interesting. I'll give them that. And the movie is shot well at points. The score is pretty good, and I will admit, like the ending, like kind of conversation with Josh Hartnett and his wife. I thought that was pretty solid too. But unfortunately, this film suffers from M Night Shyamalan's biggest tropes, which are it's weirdly paced at points. It overcomplicates itself way too much. The dialogue is very bleh at times. Um, I did feel like that this movie, I don't know, it has that Shyamalan feel to it where, like, if you show this to a casual fan, they'll be like, oh, this is a Shyamalan movie. Like, even if you don't know who Shyamalan is, they'll easily be like, oh, that's Shyamalan. Um, I felt like the the twist of him being revealed as the villain. I was like, it was it was kind of just like it wasn't done badly, but it was just kind of like I really wish they did a better job at making it seem like less obvious. I also feel like this movie does stretch out a little too long for me. I think if you shaved off maybe 15-20 minutes, I actually think it would have been a little better. Otherwise, it's not the worst film I've seen this year. That still goes to the American Society of Magical Negroes. But it's not that great either. Hopefully, Shyamalan's next movie is a little bit better. I wish I had more to say about it, but in whole honesty, I really have nothing to say about it. With that being said, my final grade is a 4 out of 10. Yep, it was that short, everybody. Devin, you are up.
You hear that in the background? There's a storm of brewing. I'm not just saying that because of the weather in my area. Because I got thoughts. In my review of Knock at the Cabin, I compared M. Night Shyamalan's filmography to a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. I don't think that's an accurate statement. I originally was going to say it's more like a roller coaster, where it's up, down, up, down, up, down. And then Austin made the Vegas comparison. We're going back on like your whole negative what you're saying about the negatives of Vegas. Sometimes you don't get lucky. You get an STD. That STD being Old or The Last Airbender or The Happening. Or you'll get lucky with with The Sixth Sense or Unbreakable, or in my case, Signs and Split. You know what? I'll even say Glass. I don't understand why people hate that movie. But when I heard the premise of Trap and I saw Josh Hartnett was making a comeback, I was super intrigued. The trailers looked really good. It sounded like a damn good idea. A plan to catch a killer at a pop concert. What a great idea! I love that. Let's go. Not to mention, his last movie was Knock at the Cabin, and I had a blast with that movie. I mean, most of us, I think all of us here, when we reviewed that, we all said that was a good movie, decent. So I had a lot of hope for this. Do we have a streak with 2 good Shyamalan movies? Or is this a repeat of we got in my opinion a good movie, a decent movie like Glass, and then a couple years later we end up getting old. This is not a streak. Instead, I have 2 crappy Shyamalan involved movies to add to my worst of 2024 list. His daughter's directorial debut, The Watchers, and unfortunately this. There's a couple of positives preventing it from being another Last Airbender, because, I mean, let's be honest, nothing could be worse than that. Josh fucking Hartnett. He was the best thing in this movie. The dude was fucking great. You know, I'm glad he's back. I hope he gets cast in more stuff, preferably better stuff. And I liked him as Cooper, aka the Butcher. You know, he's funny, creepy, and he does a great job flip-flopping between, you know, a goofy, lovable dad, and then a cold-hearted serial killer seamlessly. I also really liked Ariel Donahue as the daughter Riley. I really liked their chemistry. I bought them as father and daughter. And I bought her, you know, fangirling over seeing her favorite artist for the first time live. Because I was the exact same way when I first saw Tool live. When I first saw Ghost live. You know, finally getting to see my top 2 bands live, and then I'm freaking the fuck out. I'm saying every word to the song. So I get that. I bought that. Not to mention, she's the only character in this movie that actually acts like a fucking human being, who's not afraid to question what her dad is doing. Like when her dad's all like, wait, let's go outside. Why are we going outside? What are we doing? Oh, don't worry about it. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I always get like a little smirk every time I see Shyamalan's cameos in all of his movies, whether he's playing the doctor in Sixth Sense, the guy who hit Mel Gibson's wife in Signs, or a guy on a TV infomercial selling pizzas. I dig his cameos, and I will admit the end credit stinger that got a laugh out of me. And I also like the setup in the first half, and and the premise, but it's all about the execution, and that's where it all falls apart. Now on to the negatives. Once Cooper finds out about the FBI's plan to catch him, the movie completely falls apart because Shyamalan had to Shyamalan. All of his weaknesses begin to shove their ugly faces in one after another. You have the stilted and wooden acting, and the extremely clunky dialogue. I know we all make jokes about how his actors act, and the dialogue, we always say it's like Alien. It's like we're watching Aliens. In this movie, I didn't get Alien vibes. I got the vibes that it was written by AI, and all the characters are all acting like NPCs in a video game. You'll have characters reminding you over and over again that this concert is a trap, and they're catching a serial killer, and they do it all the time. I get it. I'm not stupid. I know what the plot is. You don't need to have your characters telling us constantly. And the biggest factor that annoyed me with this movie is how the plot relies on characters being stupid and all of its conveniences just to move the plot forward. It didn't work in Strangers Chapter 1. It didn't work in Halloween Kills. It does not work here. The staff and the police here are some of the most incompetent motherfuckers I've ever seen. Like, you have the merch guy taking him to an employees-only part of the building and telling him how to get around the building, and without guessing that he's the killer. I mean, he's not really that. It starts to get to a point where he's not that subtle about it. Like, where you look at it, you can look at it, and you can tell there's something off with this dude. And then you have the cops and the FBI leaving their gear all around just for him to snatch up and use. And unfortunately, as the movie goes on, Cooper goes from being a sneaky, sly, and cunning to being just as stupid as the rest of the characters in this movie. And then you have the nepotism from Shyamalan. I brought it up in my intro, excuse me. I brought up in my intro, you had the Watchers, which is typical, which was absolute nepotism. Because one, that movie sucked, and it was him trying to push, oh yeah, my daughter is a great up-and-coming director. You guys are going to love her. And we did it. Her movie was ass. And now we have him constantly trying to shove in, hey, look at my daughter. Isn't she a great singer? Yeah, she has a nice voice. She can't fucking act. And not to mention, I groaned when he just makes his daughter the hero out of nowhere and takes away the spotlight from Cooper and Riley. Like, how she all of a sudden is oh yeah, I knew there was a serial killer the whole time. Sure you did. The third act, it's convoluted and it drags on for too long with so many false endings with, I guess Cooper is a master of disguise, because he goes from being an FBI agent to a random person in the crowd in a span of a couple seconds. Like, is this dude Batman? Is he Jason? Why can he teleport? And I laughed at when I facepalmed when he says, wait, I gotta put up my daughter's bike. No fucking FBI agent would do that. And shocker, he breaks out of his chains. Are you teasing a sequel, M Night? Because that would be fucking adorable. And this movie, it's also watered down by its PG-13 rating. The Sixth Sense was PG-13. And that worked. That wasn't afraid to go balls to the wall. This, you're doing a movie about a serial killer. Why are you not pushing it forward? Why are you watering this down? The Batman was you could have made this a hard if you want to make this a PG-13 movie, sure. You could do a hard PG-13, I don't know, The Batman. Push the limit. It's PG-13, but it's slowly going into an R. This is just a straight-up generic PG-13. And I kind of want to bring this up more as a nitpick. Coming from someone, who goes to a lot of concerts. Why does this concert look like it's happening in the middle of the afternoon? Unless it's a festival. If it's a headline arena show, that's happening in the middle of the night. Concerts are mainly a nighttime thing. And once the headliner comes out, people are rushing to get to their seats, and they're not all piling up in the hallways. Does this dude know? Does this dude know how concerts work? In conclusion, to say I'm disappointed in Trap would be an understatement. A great performance from Josh Hartnett and Ariel Donahue, a decent first half, and an awkward laugh or two. Couldn't say this watered down, poorly written, convoluted, nepotist, unintentionally funny, and fucking stupid mess of a film. I changed my rating 4 times because the more I thought about this movie, the more it pisses me off. M Night, for the love of God, I know you can do better, man. What are you doing? I wanted to love this movie. If you want to watch better serial killer movies, watch Seven. Watch Silence of the Lambs. Or even better, you could watch Longlegs. Hell, you could watch Mindhunter instead. In my opinion, you could skip this one. However, if you do want to watch this movie, do what Jeremy John said. Watch the first half on streaming, and then stop. And I'm ending my long rant and ramble with a 2.5 out of 10. I am sorry for going on for so long, but
you fucking should be. Fuck you.
Oh, what? Is this review over?
yes, I'm done.
Okay. I'm kidding, by the way, Devin.
Yeah, we're all kidding. It's fine. Okay, now it's time for my review, guys. Okay, so Trap. When you have a premise like this, why are people so shocked that it's ridiculous and bordering on black comedy? To quote myself when watching the equally as controversial Terminator Genesis, so, when does this get bad? After hearing all the negative reviews, I was constantly thinking this throughout the entire movie. I have seen some shit, some garbage, even just this year. And garbage, this is definitely not. Especially with a year of Madam Web and Argyle with falling Pepsi signs and ice skating on oil. It could have offered more, and it still has problems, but it's an M Night Shyamalan movie. What the fuck did you expect? Firstly, the acting. Josh Hartnett definitely needs surgery after carrying this entire movie on his back. The dude has consistently shown us in recent years that he definitely isn't some pretty boy in shitty Halloween sequels and Titanic ripoffs. He can fucking act, and this majorly shows that. The things I like to see with people who play serial killers is how they showcase how that mind works. Sir Anthony Hopkins is, of course, the fucking poster child of serial killers down like expertly, but we still didn't see him as normal. So in terms of people who did it best, in terms of who blended into society, my automatic poster child comparison is Michael C. Hall from Dexter, with someone who lived a suburbia life with a family, at least later on, and how he showcases that duality. It is a bit unfair since Hall had 8 seasons, plus a miniseries, plus another upcoming miniseries to showcase his talents, while Hartnett only had a movie. But is that going to fucking stop him? Hell fucking no. The body language from Hartnett is just out of this fucking world. The little twitches, the way his face contorts and moves, it perfectly fucking showcases how the gears are turning to try and be one step ahead of everyone, as well as his faux personalities. The one where he's the cute dad, the one where he's like bordering and riding the line between good and evil, like the helpful guy. It is definitely reminiscent of James McAvoy in Split, just a tad more realistic, as this was more of a deconstruction of a serial killer rather than a supervillain with supervillain powers like the Horde. But the way his mind works is inherently intriguing to me, and he majorly sells it. Hartnett almost gave an Oscar-worthy performance, even with the hammier aspects later on. I also really liked Ariel Donahue. When it comes to teenage/child actors, I always see how they do it because they are either really fucking good or really fucking bad. Here, I thought she did a good job. A little wooden in areas, but she sold it as a diet Swiftie or whatever the hell they would be called here. Allison Pill was also really good towards the end of the film. In terms of a scared person, a lot of people tend to go really over-exaggerated and over the top, and despite this being a Shyamalan film, she kept it together and rode that line very well, so she was very memorable despite her small part. We have an older, memorable actress in a supporting role with Haley Mills. I guess Shyamalan has a thing for older, somewhat legendary actresses after working with Betty Buckley on The Happening and Split. She doesn't do a ton of interest here, but she's fine. Seleka Night Shyamalan is definitely a better singer than actress, but she doesn't ruin the movie for me or anything. She's just a little stilted is all. The fucking nepotism, I could not give less of a fucking shit about it, even if I fucking tried. It exists. Fucking deal with it, you goddamn crybabies. Finally, though, Jonathan Langdon as Jamie was good and pretty funny in the mid-credit scene. Everyone else was either fine or not very memorable. I loved the cinematography here. The colors and lighting in certain areas, it was just fantastic. It definitely Once in a Blue Moon gave me The Shining vibes, mainly when he was in the bathroom with the red stalls. Maybe that was just me. But I did like those shots where you see the depth of field in two different areas. Someone told me what it was, but I can't remember what the exact shot is called. As well as the balanced symmetry in many of the shots I liked as well. I thought it was paced pretty well. It starts off a bit slow, but I feel like that was intentional to kind of lull you in. So when shit goes down, you see that spiral of events. The editing was quite good. However, there were a couple scenes where you could have shaved off a minute or two. I really like the themes of the movie and how the title of the movie can really mean a number of different things, which I will get into soon enough. The music was a bit of a typical horror track, but has some good moments here and there, although there were some scenes that could have used music that didn't have it. So now I wanted to get into the main story. I do agree that the first half or so of the movie at the concert was much better than the second half or so. Seeing Hartnett prepare and seeing the gears turning and the close calls and him trying to be one step ahead was just ingenious and intriguing to watch unfold. The chemistry he has with his daughter was really good too. I liked how the title of the movie could mean an array of different things when it comes to entrapment. Yes, we do have the surface level idea of him getting trapped in the arena, yes, but I feel like it goes deeper than that. When it comes to his faux personalities, the things he's, created for himself, is the trap of modern suburbia and possibly fatherhood, equating it to both Dexter and even American Psycho to an extent in terms of this unstable killer who needs to break free. But he is entrapped. He's in this normal functioning nuclear family world. So even though he always has had this sick mind, he is entrapped. So many times he could have done something his way when getting stuck in the arena. There was his daughter to think about as well as this distracting presence. She was trapping him with her existence and that reminder of what he can truly never have for what he is, but at the same time being trapped on what society asks of many men his age. Then I think it went further beneath that. You also have this idea of him trapping himself with this loving family, not just his wife eventually catching him on in his later life, but what he feels. Because as we all know, serial killers don't fucking feel. They're sociopaths. They are aware of what they are, and with Josh Hartnett's character feeling rage and empathy and all these things that he should never feel, I feel like that was Shyamalan's way of showcasing to the audience that this is all because of him. He never should have had this family. He never should have taken the pill that society feeds men of needing this nuclear family by reaching that certain age and continuing the next generation. He managed to achieve something by gaining these emotions. A true serial killer and sociopath would have just gone and done his own thing and left this kid all alone. But the fact he managed to somehow gain empathy essentially means he trapped himself. So I think the title was really going somewhere with this character. I also think that there was commentary on the Taylor Swift effect, the cult-like worship of celebrities and specifically pop singers, although that was not as prominent as the character of Cooper. This movie was all about trying to get into the mind of a serial killer, and I really liked that. I was intrigued with how he was not a definitive sociopath. He was at one point probably a high-functioning sociopath, but now he doesn't fall into that anymore. How he was riding that line, and I feel like it's worth a rewatch to really see what Shyamalan was going for, because I really fucking enjoyed it. It definitely had vibes of The Stepfather, although not nearly as good. But ironically, this is definitely a better remake of that film than the actual remake. I would not be shocked if Shyamalan was inspired by that film for this one. But that brings me to one of my personal negatives of the film. I wish this movie was more so all about Hartnett's character and how he functions as a serial killer. That would have been better, and then save the trap stuff for an entirely different film. Because Hartnett as this serial killer really fucking shines, and I wish there was more. I wish it was more about him. But the plot line was simple. And to that point, I also liked that, despite, me intrigued with Hartnett's character. There was a game of cat and mouse, but the killer is the mouse. Boom, perfect premise. I didn't mind the Shyamalan-isms and the stilted nature of his films, because with the premise of catching a serial killer at a fucking concert, you gotta suspend your disbelief a fucking little bit. So I didn't have much of a problem with that. And I like how it borders on a black comedy anyway. And I think that it was intentional because I think Shyamalan is definitely more self-aware ever since The Visit. But I did want to mention some negatives because there are some. As I mentioned, I think there is a better movie in here with just the Hartnett character being a serial killer stuck in the nuclear family idea rather than the entrapment plot. And I think that would have fared better despite it being a great premise. I also think the reminding us of his backstory was too much, and the stuff at the house with Lady Raven was a bit awkward. There are some plot conveniences that were noticeable, and the Return of the King style third act with the 10 different endings was just ridiculous after a certain point. I think there would have been a better twist with the wife than what was shown, and I'm going to mention that like when we start our discussion, as the one we got seemed rather obvious, and Shyamalan just putting in a twist in there for twist's sake because he's the twist guy. What a twist. Overall, I was excited for this movie, and I think the negative reviews helped me enjoy it even more. It's not Shyamalan's best, but it is drenched in his style, and it is a style I heavily enjoy. It had some problems, and its ideas have been done better, but I think Hartnett and his character are excellent. The existential themes, the simple plot, the cinematography, and overall stilted vibe made me enjoy this. It just needed a tighter script so it can be classified as better. And by the fucking way, no matter what you say, the second trailer for this movie will always go down and is one of the best movie trailers ever made. With that, I give it a 7.5 out of 10. I was going to give it a 7, but I'm like, you know what, Josh Hartnett? You get a little half point. You deserve a little half point. A little treat for you.
All right, so my review, it's not, don't worry, it's not going to be as long as these two's review. And I don't know how Mark's review is going to be since he's usually the longest. His review's usually the longest, but we'll see. Anyway, so let's see here. Mixed, negative, positive. Let's see if I can bring it down some. All right, so anyway, if I had to, I think Austin had pretty much said it best. If I had to describe what M Night Shyamalan's filmography would be, they would be a massive gamble. I mean, yes, sometimes you can get a lucky hand and win big with movies like Sixth Sense, Unbreakable trilogy, and other times you can get the equivalent of landing on a zero in roulette, where everybody loses with movies such as The Village, After Earth, The Happening, Last Airbender, and Sorry Not Sorry Devin, Signs. While I didn't love his last film, like Knock at the Cabin, it was at least a decent step in the right direction. Well, I guess he tripped and fell back into the pit that he worked so hard to get out of for a second time. First with Old, now with Trap. Let me start with the good things about this movie. Josh Hartnett, he does a really good job with what he's given. I mean, sure he was a little over the top by the second half, but but unlike most of everyone else, he was at least trying to make this performance work. And same could be said for the actress that played his daughter. So, I mean, she wasn't great, but she was fine for what she was given. It had a few decent shots with like the concert, and the score is well done. And unfortunately, that ends it for my positives. Now, in terms of my issues, let's see where to begin. First of all, as Devin and Austin have mentioned, this suffers from a lot of problems that were in a lot of other bad Shyamalan films. The dialogue is super clunky and awkward. I mean, I pretty much groaned the moment where you had the camera, you had a worker looking directly at the camera and saying, "This is all a trap to catch a serial killer. We're all trapped here." Get it? Because the movie is called Trapped. Get it? Huh? I just hate it when Shyamalan tries to use lines where the characters just look at the camera and just say the title of the film just to sound clever. It's really not. It's annoying. Or how the fact that he has to make a lot of his actors whisper all of their lines like this. Ooh, you know, it just makes it sound so awkward. I already mentioned that Josh Hartnett and his daughter were the only actors at least doing their job. Everyone else just feels too wooden and unreal for me. Sometimes I feel like I was watching Josh Hartnett and his daughter just being surrounded by a bunch of lifeless robots. The characters are just so stupid. So many of this movie happens because the characters do the dumbest decisions possible. And also the police's idea to catch this killer is just so convoluted. So they're using this concert to capture a serial killer, and then no one's allowed to leave? What? I mean, what if someone has to leave for a family emergency, or someone passed out and needs to be taken to the hospital? What? Also, there's something at the and I mean, I know that they said that they knew the killer was going to be here because he purchased a ticket, but would that even guarantee that he would even be there? I mean, he could have given it to someone else or whatever. So, but it just feels a little weird. The twist at the end, where the wife knew about the husband being killer, that was number one. That was a little too obvious, and number two, that opened up a bunch of plot holes for me. So let me get this straight. If she knew that if she knew her husband was the killer the whole time, then why didn't she get the police to investigate him? Why would they go through all this trouble to trap thousands of fans at this concert that they're not even involved with, just to capture this one guy? What the fuck? It just makes absolutely no sense. And Devin mentioned some of the other stupid things, like the ending where the SWAT team were going to take away Hartnett, and the fact that he's like, let me just grab this bike. It's like, are you stupid or something? Did you get high before you started working? Nobody would be that dumb. Nobody. Also, I forgot. Also, another thing is that some of the characters don't really have much of a purpose to them. Like the friend that was the friend that was at the concert. I can't even remember her name, but she just shows up a few scenes here and then disappear, and then she gets pissed off. She and her daughter get pissed off that the daughter is the one on stage, and then we never see them again. Well, what's even the purpose of even having them on there? They might as well not even exist in the film. But overall, this film is just a mess. While I can't say it's the worst film I've seen this year, that would easily be the American Society of Magical Negroes. And I can't even say it's the worst Shyamalan film, because that's still that thing that I will not mention, because I know that this guy will come down to my state and kill me if I mention its name. But I will say, if you want a good Shyamalan film, just stick with The Sixth Sense or the Unbreakable trilogy. And yes, that does even include Glass. Glass is very underrated. Hell, even Knock at the Cabin is a better choice than this. Also, Shyamalan, if you're watching this, do better next time. You have proven you can still make good movies even after everybody's called you a joke. Please do better. And with that, my score is also a 2.5 out of 10.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to recover from some of the bullshit I've just fucking heard. Jesus fucking Christ. Did you not think about this shit before you watched the fucking movie, Rob? I mean, shit. I mean, goddamn. Fuck. I mean, they're trying to catch a fucking serial killer too. I mean, for fuck's sake. What the fuck? I mean, Jesus Christ. You didn't think about any of this beforehand? It just occurred to you while you watched the movie? What the fuck? Anyway. If you've seen the trailers, you pretty much know the premise for this film. It's basically pretty simple. It is what what it says it is. It is about, this film is, that's it. There is no big reveal. It's not a whodunit. It's Josh Hartnett is definitely the serial killer here, and he's definitely the one they're after. There is no big surprise. Don't expect a big Shyamalan reveal in this. This is not a whodunit. This is a cat and mouse film with the Parent Trap's Haley Mills as the cat. By the way, you know Haley Mills as Miss Bliss from Saved by the Bell. I know Haley Mills from the Parent Trap. We are not the same. Boom, exactly. And with Haley Mills from the Parent Trap as the cat, the beloved Haley Mills, because who doesn't love Haley Mills? And as an FBI profiler named Dr. Josephine Grant, and Josh Hartnett's Cooper as the mouse. Cooper learns of the trap the FBI has set for him at a concert to which he has brought his daughter, Riley, played by Ariel Donahue. As he spends much of the time searching for a way out, only to discover that Dr. Grant has wisely shut off one potential escape after another. As one cop, as somebody says, she has really thought of it. She has thought of everything. She has thought of seemingly everything. The acting here ranges from solid to outstanding. Hartnett and Donahue have great chemistry as father and daughter. Allison Pill is very good as Cooper's wife, Rachel. And Shyamalan's daughter, despite, I kind of agree with him, despite senseless bitching about Hollywood nepotism, which is nothing fucking new. I mean, Lon Chaney Sr. and Lon Chaney Jr., anybody? Hello? Anybody know, ever seen The Godfather? Where he literally had half his fucking family helping him, including his mother, his father, where fucking Coppola literally had half his family helping him. I mean, his father literally wrote the score. His sister was in the movie. Shit, his mother helped out too, in a way. I forget well. But either way, it's nothing new, so that really does not fucking bother me. She's serviceable here as, generic pop star Lady Raven. She does the job she came for. The pacing is better than some people will acknowledge. Shyamalan keeps the tension going. It's a very quiet tension. It's not like a whole bunch of action going, but it's kind of quiet. And really, it's the success of this film, however, rests on the broad shoulders of Josh Hartnett. It's good to see one of my old favorites from late 90s back in a major motion picture, and he knocks it out of the park here with, quite frankly, one of the better performances as a serial killer that I've personally ever seen. He's fantastic. He is what really kept me into this film. His body language and his facial expressions speak volumes. He sees with a quiet intensity that keeps the audience on edge as he walks a very fine line between trying to keep these two worlds separate of his, this secret life as a serial killer and his public life as a dad, which as a father, which is not a put on in any way. He is clearly a very loving father. He loves his daughter. He seems to love his family. He just keeps these two worlds separate. So he keeps these two worlds separate. The worst I can say about the film is that the ending, it kind of lands on a dud. But I have to admit, when he escaped at the end, I kind of smiled there. I was kind of glad to see that. I would honestly love to see a sequel for this because Josh Hartnett was absolutely fantastic, and Josh Hartnett was absolutely fantastic, and I would love to see him. I would love to see him back again, playing that character again. So I kind of expected this to. I have expected this to connect to Unbreakable in some way, but it did not. And I think it kind of works that way, better that way, maybe. Kind of works better that way, maybe, because I'm wondering if maybe he's setting up a sort of new trilogy here. But what really works for me here is Josh Hartnett's performance, the kind of quiet tension you have throughout the film. This kind of film, Josh Hartnett in this film is really like a wild animal, like being in the room with a wild animal. You never know what the hell he's going to do. You just never know when he's going to strike, and he is just when he's going to strike. He always seems dangerous. So when he's dangerous, he seems dangerous. When he is a loving father, he seems like a loving father. As far as the other complaints about the film, dumb decisions, newsflash, welcome to the latest episode of Rob Discovers People Are Stupid. I mean, people are fucking stupid. Yes, Rob, people are fucking stupid. Even cops do really dumb fucking things sometimes, like the dickhead cop who shot a woman who was turning off the fucking boiling water on her fucking stove. Shit. I mean, yeah. I mean, people do stupid fucking things. Yes, including cops, especially since he literally had all the IDs. I mean, people tend to take those people for granted. People like that who work at a place, yeah, they tend to take it for granted. It's easy to go invisible when you're posing as one of them. So, yeah, I could buy it. But anyway, I'm kind of rambling now because I never got a chance. I didn't get a chance to finish my review, but I really did like the film. At the end of the day, the ending was a little weak. I thought that. I guess spoiler alert here, but I mean we've already given away spoilers. But I mean when Allison Pills Rachel, when Rachel poisons him with the pie, I thought that was painfully obvious. I mean, I thought that I would have done a deep focus shot when he walks around the table and you kind of see back there so that you could see that she had put something on that pie. So, I mean, I wouldn't have even tried to hide it. I mean, exactly. So I wouldn't have even tried to hide it. I would just, let the audience know, hey, this is clearly her plan, so then the tension becomes kind of will he or won't be. Also, I will say, Wallace Shawn never would have been in this situation because he wouldn't have eaten the fucking pie. He would have switched. And if you get that reference, then you are fucking awesome. But anyway, my rating is I was going to call it a 6 or 6.5, but the more I think about it, the more I like it, especially Josh Hartnett's performance. So I really can't blame him too much for the ending. For not the ending, I probably would have named it 9 or 10. Thank you, Jack. I probably would have rated at least an 8, or rated an 8. But my rating is a 7 out of 10. I also didn't mind that it really wasn't so much about what he did. I mean, the lack of blood didn't bother me at all. It's a cat and mouse game. It's not about him as a killer. He's not showing any of his kills. He just got a guy locked up in his base.
If you want to watch a slasher movie, watch a fucking slasher movie.
Exactly. It's not a slasher movie. Yeah, it's a cat and mouse game. It didn't need a lot of blood.
Wow. So when was the last time we've had a Cool Kids stream where the reaction was very divisive?
Probably Last Voyage of the Demeter.
Yeah, pretty much. Last Voyage of the Demeter.
Last Voyage of the Demeter. Yeah, same situation there.
The last, I guess,
surprisingly, the two that hated Last Demeter hated this movie, and the two that liked the Last Voyage of the Demeter liked this movie. So funny.
What they twist?
The twist.
Yeah, I also liked. I think this was just a coincidence, but when I noticed that Haley Mills's character was named Josephine Grant, I was like, "Is M Night Shyamalan a secret Doctor Who fan?" I'd like to think he is.
I don't get
You know who I'm talking about, Mark.
Oh yeah,
good old Joe Grant. Hell yeah!
Oh, her.
Pose news.
I still don't know what you're talking about, but whatever.
But I think, like, the whole, what I was saying, like, in the chat, like, oh yeah, the twist. I wasn't talking about Josh Hartnett being the serial killer. I mean, obviously, that wasn't even a twist. That was a fucking straight up, like, him telling us that from the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the whole, his wife knew he was the killer. And she was the one that set.
Well, I mean, she didn't know, though. She suspected. She
So
didn't.
then
Yeah,
why didn't she tell the police to investigate on him if she had a suspicion?
Who knows? It's like people do dumb things. She could have been scared. Like he would have if she alerted the police. Maybe he's smart. He probably would have figured it out. Maybe she was worried that he was going to do something to their children. He doesn't know. She doesn't know how a fucking serial killer mind works. And he is technically a sociopath. He could have fucking killed them easily, but there was that thing I was talking about with the developing empathy. She didn't know about that. She probably was scared for her children and didn't want to, do that. And then on top of that, fucking police botch shit all the fucking time. Especially if it's Philadelphia. There's a bunch of fucking morons who live there. So, it's a whole rigmarole. You don't you're scared, you don't know what you're doing, and she's like, okay, let's see how to do this, and let's do it. And I think, she obviously you're not gonna make every good decision. I understand that here's why I kind of defend dumb decisions now. Obviously, there's really fucking stupid shit that you can't defend in Shyamalan's movies, like aliens going to a world that is covered in water, yet that is the thing that fucking kills them. Obviously, that's fucking stupid. So, or trying to outrun the wind. Fucking stupid. There's
really
dumb
stupid
shit everywhere. But I feel like there's some things, because I remember reading somewhere, there was this this DM, this dungeon master. Well, it was a game master, but he was doing this D&D type thing, but it was like a different role-playing game, and it was like an alien one, but he didn't tell them that it was an alien scenario. So essentially what they were doing throughout this entire game is they were making those dumb decisions because they didn't know what the threat was. Obviously, we see as the audience, don't do that, don't do this, because we are the observer. We are aware of all the information. It's called dramatic irony. Ever, language arts, English, anybody ever learn about that? Well, there's that. So we are observers. Obviously, we can point out the dumb shit, but sometimes during a scenario, during something, you're not aware of all the information. So you know what? You sometimes make a dumb mistake. So that's how I view it.
And serial killers are notoriously difficult to catch even today.
Yeah,
I mean,
because they're smart.
Exactly, they are. Yeah.
But the thing that bothers me is they show him that they first show off how smart he is, but as the movie goes on, he just gets stupid.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think he really got any. The only stupid thing I would say he did is just eating the pie rather than just assuming that maybe she put something in this shit. I would say that's about the only dumb.
But wouldn't he kind of suspect if she had pretty much said, because
she's not eating the pie.
The thing is, the fact
ate the fucking pie at the beginning. She took a fucking bite.
Exactly. She took a fucking bite.
She literally took a bite in front of him, and that signaled to him, "Oh, it's okay to eat it because she didn't fucking poison it."
What he said. Exactly.
Pay attention. Hello, McFly. Shit.
He's right, though. She did. She took a bite of the pie before he did. And he was even watching her.
And on top of that, Mark, maybe you even know this, serial killers notoriously have narcissism.
Exactly.
They are egotistical fucks. Exactly. Sometimes that blinds them from obvious shit. Ergo, Reed Richards saying Black Bolt can destroy Scarlet Witch with her mouth. His mouth, whatever. And then he gets turned into spaghetti. Because Reed Richards is a narcissistic sack of shit.
Exactly.
Just saying.
Because fuck Reed Richards.
Reed Richards is a stupid fuck. Exactly. And he sucks, and he's an asshole.
Rob, you were saying?
Yes. What were you saying, Rob?
No, I was just saying. Okay, well, I mean, I'm just laughing because I was just thinking, poor Austin. He's just what did I get myself into?
Hey,
I'm just listening, man. I'm just
watching the shit show. This is great.
Because he's like the fans versus the haters. Round one.
Yeah, I'm just the mediator here. But I will say though, I did like the scene where he just casually pushes the one person down the stairs.
That was fucking hilarious.
That's it. Make me.
I knew he was gonna do that. I knew he was gonna do that shit. I was like, something tells me. Feel that bitch.
How did nobody see that?
Exactly.
It's like,
I mean, because it's a crowded fucking it's a fucking arena, man. Shit. All he did, besides, he was very slick about it. He had his hands in his pockets. He just kind of moved up.
he just like kind of moved his arm a little bit.
Kind of moved his arm. That's it. Exactly.
So yeah, I really liked the whole deconstruction of like the serial killer and like his role in like the nuclear family. I thought that was really done really well, and I just wish that we could have like taken that aspect, because I think those were the best parts of the movie, and just kind of they did its own thing with them without the entrapment plot. Because I feel like you could have made two really good movies. You could have done the entrapment plot with like maybe a lesser actor, and just like, okay, guy's a serial killer, just do that, and then just have Hartnett be just really good as a serial killer in another movie, because I feel like that would have been better. And however, you know what, a twist, and I mentioned this in my review, and I wanted to see what everyone else's thoughts were, but my thoughts on the twist in terms of, you know, the wife knowing that he was a killer the whole time. What would have been really interesting if she was like watching the like what is it, the abduction on the computer, and then she like goes, she makes some tea, and then he like sneaks up behind her and he's like, hey sweetie, how are you? And then she just kind of turns around and says, damn, we almost got him, huh? And then like it cuts to black, and it turns out that she was also a serial killer, and that she was in on it the whole thing.
Yeah.
That would have been, I think, a really interesting and much better twist.
I was thinking about that. Yeah, that would have been very interesting, especially if she were the lead and she's like, "You dumbass, you almost got fucking caught."
Yeah, something like that, like a signal of like she knew the whole time and she's in on it. That would have, I think, been a better twist. That would have boosted my rating to like an 8.5, like easily. That would have been an insane, especially with Allison Pill, who usually plays like very like scared, naive, shy characters, and having her like she's the real villain the whole time. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, but she was very, very good.
But yeah, I think that would have been a much better twist, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, I heavily enjoyed this film. I mean, I kind of get the hate, but like at the same time, I just feel like there's a decent explanation for all of it. With like everything, I just think there's more to it than what people are describing it as, and even then, like it's still really fun. It was heavily enjoyable. Like towards the end when they were like getting like picked and like backstage shit. I was like getting on the edge of my seat. I was like rampant. I was like getting like shivers and shit. I was like, damn, where the fuck is this gonna go? And I was like anticipating his next move. I was like so intrigued with like the midpoint, like
exactly
second actor.
Yeah.
I was like getting amped up. I was like, all right, let's fucking go. And I really liked that. I know Shyamalan is hit or miss, but when he hits, he fucking hits, man. He's like Stephen King in a lot of ways. Like, yeah, he can be like even his worst movies, meme-worthy and hilarious. Happening, even Last Airbender, which sucked, the worst out of the worst. I gotta say, it's pretty funny, pretty meme-worthy.
What would you guys say was like your favorite M Night Shyamalan movie? I've already mentioned mine being Unbreakable.
Unbreakable, definitely. That was just like I feel like he took everything about Sixth Sense and just made it better.
Oh yeah,
like he just like kind of perfected that, and then he kind of never got that great until probably Split and Glass. Like the rest of the E Train. I think it was called the E Train trilogy.
It was. I just call it the Unbreakable trilogy.
The Unbreakable trilogy, whatever it's called. And I think that those 3 films are his best work, but as a whole. But I do still really like Sixth Sense. That's great. I think
I like Sixth Sense.
I really enjoyed this and Knock at the Cabin, although they're not his best. Happening and Last Airbender, and from what I've seen of old, I never got to see it, is just like hilariously bad, like just so bad they're good. And then Signs had its moments. For I think I saw Signs. I don't remember if I saw the whole thing, but I remember seeing like bits and pieces of it at the very least. And I remember like, this is like fine, I guess. But yeah, I liked The Visit. The Visit was good. It definitely had like him a return to form, but he wasn't quite there yet. So yeah,
I think The Visit is the only M Night Shyamalan movie I haven't seen.
I haven't seen that one either.
I know that. Yeah, I will say Sixth Sense. I remember seeing that movie when I was 10 years old, and the part that always freaked me out was like, "Hey, let me show you where my dad keeps his gun." He turns around, there's like a big hole in the back of his head. That freaked me out.
Yeah.
Signs scarred my brother for life, and you know what scene I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
With the alien at the kid's birthday party, that scared the fuck out of him.
That was a really, really good. That was one of the best shots he's ever had. That's why I said the Signs. What was so disappointing? That was so disappointing about Signs. That twist at the end of Signs, because up until then, that was an incredible fucking movie. He had done so well, but then just the whole idea of water being a fucking weakness. I told that to Jack, by the way, that in the car, and his face spoke freaking volumes, man. He just got that Jack look on his face, like just looking at me like.
I know. Like I'm probably I know when it comes to Signs. I mean, I remember like seeing it. I remember liking it okay when I was a teenager when I first saw it. But it's like it's one of those movies that just got kind of worse for me if you think about it. And no, I'm not just talking about the ending. Because like there was a lot of stupid Shyamalan things in that one too, and the fact that what is his wife said before he died? Swing away. It's like what? It's just like a lot of stupid shit happened in that one too. So it's just like I don't know. But I would say Unbreakable is easily my favorite one. So,
my favorite Sixth Sense.
What about you, Austin?
Unbreakable is close second.
A close second would be Split for me. So, but what about you, Austin?
Probably Unbreakable as well.
Most people here are based, except
and then you got the normie.
I mean, I'm not saying Sixth Sense is bad. Sixth Sense is very good. Like
it is very good. Although I will say this one thing about the Sixth Sense, even though the first time seeing it, no one saw the twist coming. If you really think about it, honestly, it's one of those movies. It's one that doesn't quite make a lot of sense when you start to break it down. Like, yeah, this guy, he's been dead for about a year, and he didn't even know until a year later. You know,
I don't know what to tell you.
He was in denial.
I was gonna take my glasses off because they hurt my head after a while. But I'm starting to squint. I think I might need reading glasses soon.
But I mean, what'd you say, John?
No, it's just like I agree. Sixth Sense is great. I kind of agree, but like even then, because the thing is, I knew the twist like watching it for the first time, because it's so popular at this point. Same with like Fight Club. So but even then, like watching it, like even ignoring the fact that like how the fuck did he not figure it out for a year? Even then, like how he showcased it was still very well done. Like how like you don't see him opening the door to get to the basement. You don't see like in the foreground, the ring on his finger, and the way like he sees his wife at the dinner table, it just seems like she's angry because something happened rather than he's actually dead. So I feel like the way that it was filmed and written was very well done in terms of someone who was watching it who knew. So yeah, I still think it was like well like executed to an extent in terms of someone who watched it who knew and never knew, never not knew.
Yeah, I didn't know either. Honestly, I feel kind of dumb because even, looking back, the twist in Unbreakable should have been obvious, but at the time, honestly, I was completely floored. I was completely floored with Unbreakable. So
Yeah, I knew the twist of Sixth Sense. It's like Darth Vader is Luke's father. That's a twist everybody knows. But when Samuel L. Jackson said, they call me Mr. Glass, that's one of his twists that actually fucking worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, Sixth Sense was a massive fucking success because that movie really did floor a lot of people.
It was a big hit back then.
Everybody, shut the fuck up. Jesus Christ.
Are you done?
No, go ahead.
No, I thought you were telling me to shut the fuck up.
No. I was saying that a lot of people now say that oh, I saw the twist coming the whole time. No, you didn't. Like, shut the fuck up. Jesus, a lot of
the only reason
people did not see that.
The only reason that people the only reason that a lot of people have knew about the twist going into it were the ones that were kind of spoiled by, kind of spoiled, like these two. Like, I think you guys, it came out like around the time you guys were born or something.
Yeah, it was actually really funny. There's a famous story in my family where my grandfather saw the movie and like he told my aunt the twist. Yeah, he was like eating and he was like, "Oh yeah, the guy was dead." And she's like, "Did you just fucking tell me the ending?" And that is how my sister found out about the twist for Sixth Sense.
I mean, like
it was like a whole thing.
Like I said, I was I don't remember seeing Sixth Sense in theaters. Mark, did you ever see that movie in theaters?
I can't remember if I saw that in theaters.
I never saw it in theaters, but I do remember my mom renting that movie, and me, my mom, and my older brother, we all three of us watched it together.
I think that's what I did. I think I may have rented that one.
Yeah, because I don't remember seeing it in theaters. I just remember renting it.
But I got to go because if we're gonna wrap it up, as soon as we wrap up, I got to go because Chad wants me to watch something with him.
Okay, I mean, do we have anything else to say? Because I think all we're doing is just talking Shyamalan at this point.
Shyamalan, yeah. Go watch Trap. Support your local movie.
Don't see it.
Watch Ramblers instead.
I will say this. I would say go watch it if you're interested. I think make up your own mind on it because, as you can tell from the panel here, we're very mixed on it. So, honestly, I would say go and watch it and make up your own make up your mind on it. Like, don't take our opinions. Like, well, you know, obviously you should try and take them seriously, but try to at least give it a chance. Because honestly, I'm just more in the middle. I just think it's okay, or I gave it a 4, but it's really just okay. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was just it's nothing that blew my mind and went, oh my god, this is Charles Shabalalaki's made this made his magnum opus. Oh my god, this is the greatest thing of all time. 10 out of 10 IGN review. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
7 out of 10.
It was, it was aight.
Yeah.
Okay. So are we ready to announce the next review?
Now, what is the next review?
The next review will be. Do you want me to say it, or does somebody else want to mention it?
Stay tuned. Stay tuned next time for our review of Alien Romulus.
That'll be hosted
by Zach.
Gross.
Yeah, and that'll be within 2 weeks. That'll be within 2 weeks from now. Yeah, our next review will be Alien Romulus, and Zach will be hosting that because I know he's the most excited for that movie.
Why? We don't know.
Gaxiology.
Indeed, to study gaxiology.
Exactly.
Well, then again, we study a little bit of gaxiology at times. Am I right?
No.
Yeah,
All
but,
right.
but we don't
Yeah,
practice
Yeah,
it.
you
though.
do.
Get on with it.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
get the fuck out of here.
All right, everyone. That was our review of Trap. Go make up your mind on it. Later, everybody.
Once again, we have brought light into the world. You're welcome, America.